Hey everybody, welcome to a special edition of the Neck Pour Sessions here at the Whiskey Geeks. My name's Tim.
I'm Alex, and normally we're on a quest to bring you the perfect pairing of whiskey and comics, but tonight we're just talking about whiskey because we both happen to have a bottle of this, and we thought this would be a lot more fun.
Yeah, we have done a neck pour together. We did the Bunnahabhain Struidair, and then we compared that with the Bunnahabhain 12. You can check that out on our channel.
It's right down that way, or that way, or
I'll put it in somewhere. But today we are hitting one of my favorite distilleries. This has been a long time in the making, and I can't believe I've sat on this for so long. This is the struggle. It's such a first world problem. I really shouldn't complain. But this is the struggle of being a content creator is you get brand new bottles of whiskey, and then you're like, well, I can't crack it until we set up time to schedule and record and do it for the channel. And then you end up sitting on brand new bottles of whiskey from your favorite distillery for months because
it was months because this was definitely something that I picked up over the summer.
Yeah.
Early
not the summer anymore.
No, it's not the summer anymore.
It's not. So Glen Scotia, from the Wee Tune, as they like to call it, Campbeltown.
The Wee Tune.
The smallest region of Scotch.
I want to say an official region. It gets
100%.
overlooked. It gets overlooked.
It does. I think a lot of like whiskey people, the whiskey heads know it.
Yes.
The general public don't even know it exists. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know it existed until I was in Scotland and was at the Scotch Whiskey Experience in Edinburgh. And then they did this big tour, and then you get this tasting at the end, which is where I discovered, and I was like, oh, Campbeltown, that's interesting. And then they give you little samples along the way, and the sample that they gave for Campbeltown was Glen Scotia. And I was like, this is pretty great. And so I bought a bottle 5 years ago, which was my first foray into Campbeltown. And so
what
here's the
happened
thing.
Tonight?
So I killed it.
Fatality.
Here's the crazy thing is I bought that bottle like 5 years ago, brought it home, was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've never heard of this. Went to the LCBO. We're in Ontario, Canada for folks. Went to the LCBO. They had it there for like $70. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. This is my new daily drinker. I'm loving this. So I started drinking it pretty consistently. I got to about a quarter of the bottle left and was like, all right, I'll go buy a backup. Gone. Out of the LCBO.
Yeah, not just sold out.
Not
being carried anymore.
Like gone. And I was like, I can't believe it. I just discovered this distillery. I love it. And now I can't get it anymore. So fortunately, there's ways of getting. So Glen Scotia is the one that I have the most of. So I've got this double cask that we're drinking tonight, and I've got 15, 16, and 18, and the Victoriana. Oh, and I have a SMWS bottling of Glen Scotia too, which is fantastic. So suffice it to say, I love Glen Scotia. But what we're doing here is, so I do have this nice new bottle, which Alex, tell the story while I open this.
Yeah.
About where we got these.
Yeah, so we were trying to find a way to get this, and because you had said the LCBO had it for like $70, that's sort of what was sticking in our head. So we're looking around, and you can get stuff in a lot of the Alberta shops, and when they had it, it was over $100. And what seemed expensive when you could get a bottle of the Victoriana, which is full cask strength, for right around that same price. So there were a few bottles. Oh, let's listen. Oh, that's the stuff.
Gorgeous.
There were a few bottles over in Quebec at the SAQ, but they were about 300 kilometers away from Ottawa, and let's be honest, that was just a little far for me to say, like, pack the kids and the wife into a car and say, like, let's go for a road trip to buy a bottle of booze. So on one of the random Friday nights where we would jump on and just do a nice little tasting with the Whiskey Dad and the Whiskey Rad, they're both in Kincardine, and we were talking about, I don't know, we got to talking about Campbeltown, so I hopped on to the SAQ's website, and lo and behold, they had 300 bottles, of Double Cask available to be purchased for the very, very sweet price of $63.
Woo!
So we ordered a case of 6.
Heck yeah. I immediately said I'll take 2. I probably
Yeah.
should have just taken a whole case for myself, but
Yeah.
didn't really want to do that. Anyway, so I grabbed 2.
Yeah. And because it was the COVID times, I was not allowed to go over
Right.
into the Quebec to pick it up because and they won't ship it across the border in Ontario. But thankfully, I've got a friend who's an essential worker who works in Ontario but lives in Quebec. And shout out to Amy. Thank you so much. She went out, picked it up, and then kept it at her office. And then, like a degenerate, I went and there was like, I'm here for the case of whiskey. So anyways, and that's how we ended up getting ourselves a whole bunch of Glen Scotia Double Cask.
Yeah. So basically when I found that again, for years, I've just had been sitting on like the last bit of this bottle because I was like, I can't say goodbye. I can't say goodbye yet until I find more. So now that I found more, I was able to kill that bottle. And so I thought the other fun thing that we could do is, since this is the neck pour session and that there is a lot of people out there who say the neck pour isn't a good representation, you've got to let it breathe in the bottle, it changes. I thought, okay, I can actually put this to the test.
We could do
I've
that.
got a bottle that's 4 or 5 years old that's been breathing for a long time, and then a freshly cracked one. And then I can do a little compare and contrast, see if I can tell the difference, see if there is a difference, if it's, any better or just the same.
And because I didn't have a bottle on the go, I was greedy and told Tim, well, you're the big Glen Scotia fan. You're going to want to record this one. So I just cracked my bottle right away.
Exactly.
And then
started
to I just put in a little decent amount of work, but this is also my wife's, one of her favorites. So I'm going to need to start trying to source, I think, another bottle already. Yeah. Just so that we can kind of keep drinking it. But
yeah. So before we get into it real quick. So Glen Scotia Double Cask, classic Campbeltown malt, matured in American oak barrels and finished in Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. Rich and spicy, bottled at 46%. I believe they do no chill filtering, no natural colors, but it
no chill
might
filter.
not.
It says it on the box. On the box, I think.
Alrighty.
Maybe I'm a liar.
Oh, non-chill filtered. Yep, right there on the bottle too. I am just blind. Doesn't say natural color, but again, we're not picky. We're not as picky as other people about that.
No. But you did say one of my favorite things when talking about whiskey, and it's those beautiful Pedro Jimenez sherry.
Are you more partial to Pedro Jimenez than Oloroso?
I think I might be. I do like a nice PX cask, and maybe that's because some of my favorite peated whiskeys have been finished with PX that I've tried before.
2 brewers. That's what you talking.
I'm talking 2 brewers. Because
you can check that video out. That just showed up somewhere as well, or not.
And it's just
check it out on our channel.
Yeah, one or the other. But I do like a nice, again, like we're splitting hairs here. Oloroso, also very great. Yeah. That Deanston 16 Oloroso cask.
Organic Oloroso Deanston's
gorgeous.
Knockout. Alrighty. So,
I'm just going to drink along. This is you, buddy. I'm just here for support.
My old friend Glen Scotia, how I've missed you, I must say, publicly. I've had some of the other ones recently, but I've taken a long break from Glen Scotia because I knew I was doing this and I really wanted to come into it fresh. So this one's the neck pour. This one's the old one.
Get your nose right down in there.
One thing so there is a little bit, people talk about the Campbeltown funk.
Mm-hmm. Explain that.
I don't even know how to explain it. A lot of Campbeltown, real quick. The distilleries that you see in Campbeltown are Glen Scotia, Springbank, and then Springbank also does Hazelburn and Longrow. And then there is Kilkerran. not Kilchoman, Kilkerran.
Yes.
So those are the distilleries that make up Campbeltown.
And
Springbank
oddly
Group
enough,
owns Springbank, Longrow, Hazelburn, and Kilkerran. And then Glen Scotia is this other little independent guy off by themselves down the
doing
street.
great work.
Doing
Punching way above their weight class.
way above their weight class, in my opinion. I honestly would say that in my opinion, I think Glen Scotia is the most overlooked distillery in Scotland. Like, I have no problem saying that. I'll die on that hill.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see it anywhere, right? It's not in the same conversation.
Never see it. People don't talk about it. Some people talk about the Victoriana because it's a cask strength, and you can get the Victoriana in Canada and some other spots, but like the 15 is a knockout bottle. Yeah. But this double cask, like, which is like their entry level one, I just get a lot of butter.
Yeah.
So like the Campbeltown Funk, there is this thing that people say with Campbeltown whiskeys that there's like a funky cheese or like a barn or like a weird hay smell that you get in some Springbanks, and it's just like they just call it the Campbeltown Funk because there's something kind of weird about Campbeltown malts. People that like Campbeltown whiskeys really effing like Campbeltown whiskeys. I've noticed that. It's kind of like Islay.
I was just going to say, it's a lot like people that really like Islay whiskeys, like all Islay whiskeys, and love that distinctive salty peat or charcoal peat, briny, ash. Yeah, they love that. And you're right. It's the same thing with this.
Yeah. I know people that like when they first discover Campbeltown, they're like, there's something kind of weird about it. But then when they get into it, then they're just like, I need to get everything from Campbeltown. So anytime Springbank or Hazelburn or Longrow or Glen Scotia comes out with anything, they're all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really like we enjoyed the Longrow. They did a peated expression. Yeah. And that was really interesting because it had a bit of the funk with also having some of the peat, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of the funk in this one?
No. So odd, like I am getting a difference in the nose between the two, which is interesting.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's almost kind of like it's opened up more, which is what they say happens. But I'm getting more. It's kind of like brown butter. Like I get, it's like a salted butter, but it's kind of like this is really weird. You know when you're making cookies?
Yes.
And you like melt butter and then mix it with like brown sugar and stuff like that. And before you like mix it with the flour, like, you know, you put an egg in it. That's what I'm reminded of.
Okay.
Like
very specific and very good. Yeah.
Melted butter, but like sweet, kind of, or a brown butter, if you will. Yeah. So I'm getting that with like a little bit of the sherry notes, right? It's not fully aged in the sherry. It's just finished. So it's mostly an American oak. But okay, I get it. It's been too long since I've tasted
get in there. So for me, I would say you get more of the sherry oak on the nose, and then you get a bit more of the American white oak, like right up front on the palate. So there's like a bit of that heat. There's like a little bit of the spice, but it's like replaced with that creaminess. It's not quite caramel. Like you're right. Like it is more of like the brown sugar and butter.
Yeah. There is
very, very nice.
I said I didn't get any on the nose, but on the palate, I am getting a little bit of that weird, just right at the back end. On the taste, there is something. It's not sour. It's not bad.
No.
It's just
there's right at the back of the tongue. Like for me, it's right at the back of the tongue, right as you're swallowing. There's like a little bit of a really sharp cheese almost.
Cheese, yeah.
But then it goes away.
Then it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're just getting the really nice warm,
rich spiciness. All right, I'm going to try the old one. See?
He's sipping, ladies and gentlemen.
I have to mute that. I just swallowed right into the microphone, I think. Hopefully that didn't come through because that would be gross to hear.
I mean, we are sipping whiskeys right in front of a microphone.
I know.
You know.
God damn, I've missed this whiskey so much. I am so happy we're doing this because now I can
really
just
good. Now you can just drink it.
Go back to this, and I've got a backup. So,
we should.
This whiskey rocks, man.
It's just really good. And the thing that does it for me, in a blind, like if you were doing this on a blind test, I feel like this would stand up to things significantly higher price point than what this is. Now, that being said, I guess the price point for this is more of $100 bottle now, because that's what, like, say, like for like craft sellers or the Whiskey Drop or like some of the stores out in Alberta that will ship to Ontario, like that's what they've got it priced at now.
If they get it.
If they get it. And maybe the SAQ, like that was just a bit of a hiccup where they hadn't adjusted the prices to reflect the new reality in the market.
God, I hope not.
But for $63, this is fantastic value.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, non-age statement, so I know that'll ruffle people's feathers as well. But, yeah, bang for your buck for a non-age statement. This is pretty great, especially for that price.
Well, I mean, there's non-age statements that are, you know, like part of special releases or even age statements that are, you know, under, you know, like an 8-year-old or a, you know, like an 11-year-old that's, you know, under what the entry level is quite often for a lot of the distilleries, which are still significantly more expensive than...
Well, I mean, there's non-age statements that are very expensive. Looking at you, Berclotti, with your Octomore.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a big
awesome.
fan, but $225 is getting a little crazy for a 5-year-old whiskey.
5-year-old.
Yeah.
Now,
again, back to the case in hand though. If you can find Glen Scotia, folks, we try and keep these short, so we'll wrap this up. Soonish.
I mean, we'll stay on and just keep drinking, but you know, we should maybe wrap it up.
If you can find this, please buy it. I will put this out there too. If you buy this and try it and the funk is too much for you, contact me. You can email us at thewhiskeygeeks@gmail.com. I'll buy it off you.
Yeah.
There you go. How's that?
Risk-free.
You have a guaranteed buyer here. If you buy the Glen Scotia Double Cask and you don't like it, I will take it off your hands gladly, because Glen Scotia, you're one of my favorites. Hands down. I love everything you do. Please get more of your stuff to Canada. You have limited release stuff that doesn't come to Canada. I'm dying for it to come to Canada. Please, I'm begging. I'm begging you. Please.
We'll send them. We'll tag them.
Yes. I'm gonna send them this.
Or
please.
spamming this video,
so good.
please.
But yeah.
So differences on the palate there between the bottle kill and the new one.
The old one is a lot smoother.
Yeah.
It's less spicy. But it's also, it almost feels less complex.
Oh,
but I think it's because this one, the brand new one, just hits a bit harder, and then like it dissipates, and then you get all that smoothness and, you know, those kind of spicy notes with a little bit of the sherry notes in it. Whereas the older one is just straight butter. That's the only thing I can say about it. It's just smooth butter.
I like it.
Delicious dram, folks. A delicious dram.
Glad we did this together. Glad you cracked that new bottle. You've got another go-to that you can just start putting in some work. But for the Whiskey Geeks,
kiss this bottle.
I'm Alex.
I'm Tim. This was the Glen Scotia Double Cask, folks. Neck pour sessions. Make sure you're checking us out. We also have a podcast for those watching this. You can go and just check that out. We do pairings where we pair comic books and whiskey. Check out the rest of our channel. We do other reviews, quick reviews, quicker than this one. This was a longer one, but we do neck pour sessions where we're doing reviews of brand new scotches. So come along for the ride. Hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you join us on this weird whiskey ride that we're on together. So that would be a lot of fun. Thanks, Alex, for being here. This was great. I'm happy to have you here.
Glad I was here for this, bud. All right, everyone, thanks a lot. And remember, Scotch and stories, they were made for each other. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.